All right, so we are here with Mutant X Watch News, and we have Lily here who has seen a very stressful situation in her neighborhood. Lily, can you tell us a little bit more?
Like I was just eating a sandwich and it was a pretty good sandwich and I heard some sounds. And the sounds that were coming through the house were people knocking on the door. When I looked out, I saw these soldiers and I'm like, what could it be? There's no mutants living in here. But lo and behold, we do have a mutant living in our house. And I was told that it was a teleporter. I would have never guessed. He was such a nice guy. And I like my making my sandwiches and he offered me some meat one time. I I I I, I can't believe it.
Lily, you are so brave. Let's take a look at some of what happened earlier today.
Looks like we made it, Captain. We made it to the house. We're going in. We're gonna knock. Go, 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 go.
Alright, so today we are reviewing X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo, and it was released in 1994 and it was published and created by Capcom. Now, this game is an amazing side scroller that features some of the X-Men, not all, but a good amount. And like our other video game reviews, let's get into some pros and cons, starting off with the cons. Now, this game is notorious for being pretty difficult. Now, some of the earlier levels are not so bad, but when it comes to no continues, the game is pretty difficult when you have to start all the way over after extinguishing your two lives in the beginning of the game. Next is the replayability. Once you complete the game, there isn't anything brand new for you to get into. For the most part, all of the characters are pretty much all of the characters, and all of the stages are relatively the same. Now, there is a training room mode, but it still doesn't give you an experience that lends it to an extension of the game. Last is the storyline. The storyline is pretty minimal, and it's not to say that we're looking for a grandiose story, but for characters that are based on comic books, you would expect something a little bit lengthier, more detailed, and a lot more exciting. Now, this is a side gripe. The game is called X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, but the last boss isn't Apocalypse, it's actually Magneto. Now, with the pros, we have a variety of characters such as Beast, Cyclops, Psylocke, Gambit, and also Wolverine. The next is a combination of genres. So, even though it's a side scroller, you can feel a little bit of the fighting game experience in that game as well. When I'm playing with Beast, I also feel like I'm playing with Blanca as well. And leading into that variety when it comes to the genre, you have special moves and also combinations. So when I'm doing, for example, Cyclops' Optic Blast, I am pressing down forward, diagonal down forward into a punch button, very reminiscent to a Street Fighter game when I'm doing a Hadouken, and his Optic Blast will come out. Next pro is the graphics and soundtrack. It is pretty phenomenal overall. Now, playing at an older age, my ripe older age, going back and playing that game it feels really good to hear the soundtrack and the SFX, and the graphics are pretty stellar when it comes to the visualization and representation of the characters. And overall, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is a pretty stellar game. It's very enjoyable, and for nostalgic purposes, it's easy to go back into, but it's also easy to get back into that difficulty. But once you finish with that experience, you feel like a kid again. So if I had to rate it out of 10, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Is that a good score or is it a bad score? Well, it's my score. So let me know your feelings about this game, your comments, your pros, your cons, and I'll catch you all later for the next video game review. Later. Alright, so today we are reviewing X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, and it was